In this video, I'm going to go through how to draw isometric drawings in AutoCAD. What we've done in the past, we've done we've done orthogonal drawings so far, and orthogonal drawings have a top view, front view, side view. What we are going to do now is we're going to learn to draw isometric drawings. Now, isometric drawings are useful. They're most useful for being able to communicate to the person reading these drawings quickly and easily what the general shape looks like. Now, orthogonal views are much better for presenting detailed information, especially things like dimensions. But orthogonal views have a good purpose, and they're particularly useful in sketches if you're trying to convey to someone, this is what I want you to make. You can demonstrate a lot of information quickly with a isometric view. There are other ways of drawing 3D shapes. We can draw shapes with an oblique drawing, and that's where the drawing is drawn at 45 degrees. I probably should have had one open already before I started talking about this, but I will quickly just open up. An oblique means slanted. So when we draw oblique views, let's see if I can come up with a better picture than this one. Oh, I think this is the one I typically use for my discussions anyway. Is with perspective drawings, they look the most natural, but they're very difficult to draw without a computer. Isometric look pretty natural, and they're very good if you want to draw circles, because we can get circles for isometric drawing templates. Obliques are good if you have exactly one circle on the drawing. If you have one circle, you can draw that on the front view, but otherwise everything else is hard to draw, and so we tend not to use oblique. You'll see maths teachers use oblique a lot when they want to draw, say, a prism of some sort, but isometric are better. Generally speaking, we will always draw isometric drawings. So I'll close that now because we don't need that for today. And what we're going to do, I'm going to flick back and forth from this drawing. So the first thing I want to draw is I want to draw this. I'm going to show you with a pen, with the pen tool, with the line tool. We want to draw this shape here. Let me draw another line, please. Okay, so this shape we call the crow's foot. You can kind of see why it would be called a crow's foot, right? Like it looks a little bit like not exactly, but you could see how someone might call it a crow's foot. Now, the important detail is that in isometric views, I'll draw a new line. This is, let me get a pen. This is 30 degrees, and this is 30 degrees. Yeah? And isometric means equal measure. And the reason for that is that the angles are equal on both sides. So what we're going to start off with, we're going to start off by drawing, in our case, the first three lines that we're going to draw is that we're going to draw a line that is 50, and we're going to draw another line that is 50, and then we're going to draw another line that is, how tall is this? Can anyone tell me how tall this is? How tall is that line? Well, okay, so what's interesting is that when we're drawing these shapes, so what we can see here is we can see the height of our object here is shown as 36 plus 14, that's 50. Yeah? So that would mean that in this case that this should be 25 and this should be 25. Now when I actually draw this line, I'm getting slightly different, but you know, that's what we've got, 25 and 25. So that's the first thing we're going to draw is these three lines, yep? Sure. Okay, so I'm going to go to AutoCAD and I'm going to create a new file. And when I create my new template, I'm just happy with AutoCAD ISO. And what I'm going to draw is I'm going to start with a line. So I'm going to press L space, L space, and I'll say specify first point. So I want to start at the origin 0, tab 0. Now I always like to have the numlock type. Now the next thing I'm going to draw is I'm going to draw 50, and then the less than sign 30. The less than sign tells me the angle that I want to draw at. So it's 50 less than 30. Now I can't see my shape. Well, if I zoom in, I can see it a little bit, but a way of getting that shape nice and big is to go Z space, E space, and that will zoom in the whole shape, right? Okay, I'm going to draw a new line. I'm going to draw L. Now I could specify 0, 0, but I've got just snap-on. So it is snap options. Where are the snap options? Here, I think, are our snap options. Yep. So we can restrict it to only. We can set the angle specifically here. We'll play around with that later. But for the moment, we're going to type in 50 and then less than. Now, what angle do we want this to be at? For those of you who can see the board, there's a bit of a clue that it says, hey, you've currently got the line set to 154 degrees. So what I want is 180 less than 30. So what's 180 less than 30? Yeah. Or another way of phrasing that is 180 minus 30 is what I really meant to say. Okay. Now, I want to draw one more line. And that line is again going to go from the origin. So 0, tab 0, or I can snap. And then I'm going to set it to up. I don't need to type in 90 because the ortho snap. Do you see how ortho snap snaps to all the 90-degree lines? So I'm just going to ortho snap, and then I'm going to type in 25. There you go, I've got my line. Now, we could zoom extend on that. And we've now got a part of the shape. There's probably not quite enough room, a little bit more. That's about right. Now, what we can look at is we can look at restrict cursor orthogonally, right? So we have this orthogonal mode, right? So that way, if we do that, do you see how it only snaps at 90 degrees? Whereas we can set it to specified angles, but we want to set that here to, do you see how it's got 30, 60, 90, 120? If we do that, this circle will mean that now it should snap to 30-degree lines. Yeah? Every 30 degrees, it will snap. And that's going to be way more convenient for us. So let's go back to our drawing. Now we have this step. This step is 14, 20, 14. So let's just draw that quickly. So we've got 14, 20, 14. And we can see how that was much more convenient than having to type in the angle. And that's because this is software for people who, we're trying to make it as intuitive and as quick to use as possible. Now, this distance here, they don't give us this distance either. And that's generally good practice, right? The idea is you don't want to specify more dimensions than you have to, right? If you specify more dimensions than you have to, well, there's two schools of thought. Right. One school of thought is that if you do specify the dimensions, the first thing you should do is check that both sets to line up. In this case, what they want to try and see is they want to see if you can work out the dimension. So they've set up here it's 60 plus 20. So if we've got 50 plus 20, what's the difference going to be here? 10. That's exactly right. So I'm going to iso snap. That's what I'm going to call that. 10. And then how far up? I didn't pay attention. We said that was 50. And then it's going to be 50 back across. So let's go there. We're going to do 50, and then, ready, 50, okay. And then this one here was, at the top was a rectangle of 60. So we'll do that now. So 60, 50, okay, and I'm hitting escape. So a line, I want 25 up. Now, I don't remember what this distance is, so that doesn't matter. I know that it's out here somewhere. And then this one here, I don't remember what this distance is, but I can tell it's going to be at the intersection point. Yeah, so I can just snap to that intersection point. This one here, again, I don't remember how, I do remember this is 50. And if I type in 50, that would make my life fast. I'll just do 50. And then snap. And we can see that this drawing will start to come together really quickly from that point. Yeah, really quickly. Now, there's two different ways I can trim this line. I can either click on it and then drag it to the location. Or I can go TR, select this line, and then delete it that way. Okay, I've created that object, and that was pretty quick. The thing I want to do now, okay, I'm missing one line. Can anyone tell me what line I'm missing? This is the best part of isometric drawings, is remembering to include all the lines. It's like the puzzle of it. Yeah, go, which one? Not that there's not a hidden line that's missing. Yeah. What else? The line for underneath this area here. Okay. So and I can just intersect. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my dimensions. Now I showed you in the previous video how you set up dimensioning, but I want to go from here to here, and I'm going to stretch that out, and then I'll go from okay, so I'm just thinking about how I'm going to dimension this. Yeah, see, so I can't just snap into here. I'm going to go like that, which is not quite the same as what's shown on the drawing, but it will do. Now, we had this point to this point. What else do I need? I need this one here. Okay, so that's sufficient dimensioning that I think you should be able to do everything there. There you go. I'm happy with that drawing. So you guys have those 4 drawings that I'd like you to do now. One thing that we didn't finish in the last video is that generally speaking, we want to have the dimensions be on a lighter line type. So I'll show you how to create a line type again. So I've gone to Layer Properties, and I had trouble last time stretching this out, but I had to play around for a bit. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new line type. And to create a new line type, it's this button here with a little orange dot sort of thing. And I'm going to call this dimension. So I'm just going to call it DIM for dimension. And when I go to line, I want it to still be a continuous line. I just want it to be, sorry, cancel. I want it to be, the line weight to be, we're going to go with, so normally all our other lines should be 0.5 mil. So this one will go with half at 0.25. And so I'll just set everything else on 0. I'll set it to 0.5. Also, 0.5 looks really thick on these drawings. But okay, so then I start collecting these lines, just selecting. Now, I don't think I mentioned this in the past, is if I go to the left, when selecting things, if I go to the left, if I go to the left, I get a green box. The green box will select anything it touches. The blue box will only select things that are entirely within the space. So even that won't get it, but that will get, because I selected entirely within the space. I am more used to things selecting on the green box, so I tend to go more to the left. But just know that there's a difference. That's why we get a difference between that green box and the blue box. So I'm going to change the layer type to dimension. Now, I don't know if we'll even see a difference at this scale, whereas everything else should be on layer type 0. Yeah. Okay. But when we